if I can see. Yeah, I can see me on here, so hopefully that means it's working. Um, yeah, so please feel free to jump on and ask me any questions that you have. My topic today, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Sarah Stevens. I'm a PR expert. I've been doing PR for various different clients now for well over 20 years. I've worked with big blue chip companies, international brands, and I've also worked with SMEs and entrepreneurs as well, in a variety of different industries. So feel free to drop in and ask me any questions. And yeah, I did a little quick poll a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago, to find out what you all needed help with regards to PR. So I've done a couple of lives now, one just explaining what PR is, and so giving you some quick wins that you can take away and implement straight away. Today's session is going to be how to pitch to media. So I'll give you a couple of tips on how to find opportunities to pitch for media, how to find out what media want from you, and then how to kind of respond and pitch that in to the media. So please do, if you're tuning in, say hello, let me know if you are watching. That would be amazing. I'm just going to do some likes on here just to see if people can see and hear me. Right, just because alerts aren't really working very well. So I have just done that. So hopefully some of you will get the alerts now. I'll see if I can tag you in it so that you can see that I'm live. Just bear with me a second. I will just do that. Because if you're around to jump on, that would be amazing. Right, I've tagged you all in it, so hopefully you will get the notifications now that something is happening and I am live. So yeah, so I'm Sarah Stevens, and today we're going to chat about how to pitch into the media. Feel free to jump on and say hello at any stage of this, and let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you've already been doing PR, and if so, have you pitched into the media, or have you implemented some of the other tips that I've given in the other lives? I'd love to know. Please do let me know. Yes, so pitching into media. So first of all, I always like to do and repeat my little analogy. For any of you who are new to PR and haven't seen my other lives and think get PR muddled up with advertising and marketing and what is the difference of PR, we don't really get it. I have a little simple analogy that helps you get it in the right frame of mind, and it helps you to understand it. I always like to repeat this whenever I do a live, for those of you who haven't heard it before, just so that then you're thinking in the right way before we move on to what the session's about. So for me, my little analogy is, imagine that a girl and is on a date with a guy. Very traditional, I know. On a date, the girl's called Margaret and the guy's called David. So they've gone on a date, and please jump on and say hello as well if you're tuning in. So a guy and a girl go on a date. Margaret arrives for a date, meets David, and David says, "Hi, I'm David. I'm handsome. I'm rich. I'm very, very clever. Did you see that gorgeous sports car in the car park? That's mine. I'm such a catch. You're so lucky to be on a date with me." Okay, David there is advertising to Margaret. He's basically pulling out all his good points and advertising himself to his date. Okay? Now, if Margaret arrived to meet David on her date and David said, "Oh, lovely to meet you, Margaret. Oh, I adore your hair. It's just stunning. You're so beautiful. I love your outfits. How flattering. That colour really suits you. From the twinkle in your eye, I can see you're clearly very intelligent, and from that beautiful smile, obviously a very kind person." Okay, he is doing marketing, so he's telling Margaret exactly what he thinks she wants to hear. And then say if during their date Margaret nips to the toilet. In the toilet, she bumps into another girl who says, "Oh my God, I see you are on a date with David. Oh, I went to school with him. He's the nicest guy you could ever meet. His family is so lovely. He's so clever. He was in the top set for everything. Not that he'd probably tell you because he doesn't like to brag or show off. But he's just so lovely, so successful. Yeah, just a really, really lovely guy. Oh, you're so lucky to be on a date with him." Okay? That is PR. That is someone else, whether that be media, whether that be a previous client, that's someone else endorsing you. And that's so much more powerful than you advertising or doing marketing. So hopefully that makes more sense. Please, if you're tuning in, do say hello. Let me know if you like that analogy. So yeah, moving on to how to pitch to media. First of all, the important thing is that we covered last week was how to know which media you need to be in. And so if you need to play that back, then please do so. So how to pitch to media. The first thing is there's various different ways that media put calls out for information or quotes or expert advice, or if they've got a feature coming up and they need more examples or case studies, quite often they'll put things out there and requests. So it's quite handy if you go on Twitter, hashtag journo request, hashtag PR request, you can see quite a lot of the requests on there. If you work with someone like myself, we quite often will pay to subscribe to channels that give us the latest information in terms of what journalists are looking for, and then we can respond to them. But you can look on well, what was Twitter, yourself. So yeah, so you can do that, look for opportunities. Last week I explained about making sure you're in the right media that your target audience will read. And so once you've identified the media that your target audience are reading and therefore where you need to be, where you need to position that content, it's really important for you to start reading that media and looking at that media so you understand A, what articles are already in there, what the writing style is, what topics they like to write about, who some of the journalists are, and therefore whereabouts maybe in that paper you want to sit, you think your story would sit. Also, if it's like a daily newspaper, each day they'll have maybe different themes of features. So there might be a day when they do more travel features, there might be a day that's more business. So getting a feel for that publication and when they will run certain topics and certain themes, and what they've wrote about previously will really, really help you, because what you'll be able to do then is if you're trying to pitch in a story to, like, I don't know, Knutsford Guardian, for example, and you've been reading it every week and you know that on, say, this isn't true by the way, but just plucking something out of the air. If you find out, say, on a Tuesday that they tend to write about business stories, well, which case it might be really good for you to pitch in and send some information through to them um, on the Sunday, maybe, because the journalists in mind might work on a Sunday pulling all their ideas together and pitching that in. They might work a week in advance, but it's really important for you to know when things are going to go in, so you know when to pitch in, um, because there's no point pitching the same day it will go into print. You need to print in advance, pitch in advance. So have a look at that. Do your research. Read those publications, because nothing annoys a journalist more if they've written about something and then the following day you're pitching that same story in and they've just written about it, because they'll go, yeah, I did that yesterday. Did you not read it? So make sure you read that current days. That, well, ideally I tell people to start researching and reading about 2 weeks in advance of when you want to pitch in your story, so you get a real feel, and also you learn who it might be best to send that story through to, so which journalists tend to write more about your industry or your area or whatever. So definitely do some research. Obviously, if you're responding to journo request, you'll see should see all the details on there, including contact details for the journalist. But also do a little bit of research, Google them, see what they've written about recently, because if they're a freelancer and they write for different publications, it might be handy to see what other publications they write for, because even if your story or your response to that journal request isn't quite right for it, maybe they've got someone more like a celebrity, for instance, that would be more beneficial for them to feature, or something else that slightly trumps your story, and they don't feature you. If you know what other publications they also write for, you can start building up that relationship, because say you've pitched into them because if you've seen a journal request from them for something they're writing in the FT, the Financial Times, and you don't quite fit that properly in terms of what they were looking for, but maybe that journalist is a freelancer that also writes for the Sunday Times and the Mail, and a few other things, and actually your story might be a perfect fit for one of the other publications they write for. So you can start building that relationship up with them to say, oh, thank you for coming back to me to say that unfortunately on this occasion you can't feature me in the FT, but I notice you also write for da 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 da. Is there anything coming up within there that you could potentially, I could potentially help you with? I'm willing to be quoted as an expert in the following industries or on the following subjects. So all of these things start building that relationship up with journalists, and that's really good. I've have quite a few freelancers that I've dealt with for 15 plus years, and who I know write for different publications. So it's really good to build up those relationships with them and make them aware that you could maybe respond to them at quite short notice and turn things around and give them a timely comment. So definitely look at to build those relationships up and do your research. When you're pitching in a story to a journalist, never just in the subject line of your email go press release or news story, because it's not going to stand out. B, journalists quite often will get hundreds of emails come into their inbox every day, and you want your email to stand out so that they actually click on it and open it. So think about the subject line of your email needs to almost be the tagline or the headline for the story that's going to catch someone's attention and make someone want to open it and respond and read more and find out more about it. So you almost need to write your headline a bit like an advertising hook, or just something to pique someone's interest so that the email gets opened. Or if it's linking to a current event that's happening at the moment, then maybe you want to mention that in the um, subject line so that they know what it relates to. If you're responding to a journo request, then you could put some of the keywords that they've used for that in the headline, just so that they know that it's relevant and it's what they're looking for. So that's really, really vital. And the shorter they are, the better, the punchier they are, and they're easier. They'll scan through the mailbox, read it, oh, click, and then they open it. And then the crucial thing is for the first couple of lines, need to succinctly tell them what the point is of your email, what the story is, what's the hook. If you've got like a little like the little summary paragraph of use them in meta tags and things like that, or the opening lines for a magazine, for instance, in the contents page, and they have a couple of lines summary about each piece. Think about that, because you need to hook them in that first paragraph, because you want them to read the whole of your email and to then go, oh yeah, we want to feature you, and reply. So that little opening paragraph needs to succinctly give them the story. What is the story? Why should they feature you? What is it of interest to them and their readers? Within that, it's really, really vital to have decent photography. So I can't stress enough how visual the media is these days. And if you haven't got a high resolution photo, so that's 1 MB in size or bigger, to accompany your story, it's probably not going to get featured. Okay? I hate to break it to you, but no matter how good that story is, they need some photographic evidence to show what you're talking about. Okay, so professional photography is really, really important, whether it's professional photography of yourself as a spokesperson and business owner, whether that's photography of a product or a service. Photography is key. And also, don't attach the photo to your email that you're sending to the journalist, because high res images, 1 MB or above, take up a lot of space in their email inbox. And journalists hate having full inboxes and then can't get any emails in because their inbox is too full, or they've got an email that's coming from you and you've attached loads of high res images to it and it's taking half an hour to upload that email, which is like jammed their inbox. So they absolutely hate that. So any high res images, sometimes you might want to, if the images are especially amazing, you might want to attach a low res version to your email so that they can see it when they open the email, but then have a link like to Dropbox or a Google Doc link to the image in high resolution. And then if you've got a selection of images, for instance, you might want to link to a folder that has them all sat there in high res format so the journalists can scroll through and pick the images they want. Do not put a link to WeTransfer because they expire, and quite a lot of journalists might see your story and think, oh, that's brilliant, and if it's not time bombed, so if it's not linked to a current affair, or there's it's an event that's happening, and obviously it's happening maybe September, and so there's no point in them featuring the story beyond that, unless it's time bombed. They might see your story and think, oh, that's a good one, and they might just save it into a folder for future story opportunities. And if you put a WeTransfer link in there for your images that might expire, and in the future they think, oh, I've suddenly got half a page I need to fill really quickly. Oh, that girl sent me that story and it was really interesting about that product that she's got. Let me find it and I'll have a look through, find your email and think, right, I'll shove that in that space. But then if your images are WeTransfer link and it's expired, quite often they'll go, oh, can't be bothered reaching out to them to go, the transfer link's expired, can you send me a new one? It's just a lot of hassle. So then they'll just go to the next thing they've got saved in their folder. So make sure it's a link that's not going to expire, because in the future they might want to use your story. Also, seems obvious, but make sure you've got a call to action within your, at the bottom of your story or whatever. So call to action, i.e., I can for more information, please go to my website. Boom. And for more information, email me. Here's the email address. For more information or to find details on my product, here's my Etsy account name. Whatever it is, or here's my Instagram. Wherever you want that person when they've read your article to go to, make sure you put it in. Some media won't be able to publish contact information for you, but others might be able to, or they might be able to just include your website address for that important SEO backlink. So make sure you put a call to action. And also at the end of your email, include a mobile contact number for yourself, just in case that journalist wants to get in touch with you and doesn't have time to just email you and wait for you to respond. So put your phone number in so that they can easily get in contact with you, because if they've got 3 possible emails from people who can help them with coverage, and one of those 3 emails has got a contact mobile phone number with give me a call anytime if I can help, who are they going to contact? Okay, make it as easy and as straightforward as possible for that journalist. So the number of journalists who probably have emails from people going, hi, I've got an event coming up, it's da 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 da, it's great, we've got this going on, that going on, and there's some great images, they put a link in and all of that. They've said it to the journalist looks at it and thinks, oh, that's brilliant. But they don't say what date it is or what time it starts or some of the most obvious information. So if you're promoting a product, you want to include how much does the product cost? Is it instant delivery? Obviously on demand delivery. Will it take 3 months to are they made in a very bespoke, time consuming way? Will it take several months to get it? Is there a big backlog of orders? Put all the information in that journalist may need. They might not print all of it, they might not publish all of it, they'll cherry pick which bits they want to use, but just make their lives easier. You make them lives easier, they're more likely to feature you, okay? The next one, top tip that I've got for pitching into journalists is not to waffle. Try to be concise as possible and as factual as possible. They can elaborate. They can add all the descriptive stuff in, and just go for it. Do you know what I mean? One of the keys to successful PR is to be persistent and consistent. So make sure you've got your tone of voice nailed, your call to actions, all the information and everything done and nailed, because that makes it easier. Then when you're reaching out to journalists, you're quite consistent with your messaging and tone of voice and everything else, and that can help, and be persistent. So just because a journalist doesn't reply to you, try them again. If if they've replied to you once to say, yeah, might be interested in this, follow up. I know you said you might be interested in this. Do you need any more information? Can I help you with anything else? Or there's been a slight change update in information. There's this. We thought this might be of interest. Just keep that relationship going and be consistent, because sometimes, just like with sales, you have to follow up, and follow up again. Um, so yeah, so I'm hoping those tips will help you when pitching into journalists. Um, Please hashtag replay if you're watching this back. Feel free to ask me any questions at all. I'll check back and answer them. Um, I know obviously it's summer holidays at the moment, so I bet you're all away and things. But do let me know if there's any topic you'd like me to cover in September. I'm more than happy to cover something else PR related then, or to fine tune anything that I've mentioned today. So I will pop a link to my free group in the comments. Please do let me know if you've got any questions or anything. And I'd also love to know if you've implemented any of the tips that I've given previously or any of the tips from today. Let me know how you've got on. I'd be really, really interested. Okay, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.